Hey, Vox here. So the Steelers dropped a game to Kansas City in the playoffs because they got outscored by twice the amount of points. So it always moves on to next year, and the reason why we're on overthecap.com is looking forward, right? In the end, reacting to the game, it kind of ended up how I said that, tweeted this out, and like Roethlisberger even said, like, we got no shot. I kind of figure it's gonna happen that way. But we needed basically like four miracles, I feel like, to win. We got one right away with a defensive fumble six with TJ Watt right away. So like that, we kept the game close for like a quarter, right? And took the lead 7-0, and then Casey basically came back, started storming down. Like every single screen was open. The trick plays near the goal line were open. The cross to Kelsey basically broke our back. But like overall, it was a long shot, okay? And to win the Super Bowl, they would have needed like four straight games of like at least four miracles a game to win, and unlikely at best. So we could get I got jerk off material for the rest of the year. TJ Watt highlights on the NFL channel, so I can't watch it or else we get demonetized. Even looking at this thing, we probably get demonetized. I was gonna have the game going on in the background, but they have not put it. Oh, there it is. All right, we can go. We can watch this while I talk about the Steelers season, and we'll get demonetized, but it's cool. So, anyways, all right, on to next year, right? Like talking about the Steelers. They desperately need a few different positions, right? Like, honestly, like, is there a single position on the Steelers that you can say, okay, we're kind of set there? Running back, right? Okay, running back, fullback, Watt comes back, that's fine. But, like, edge rusher, Highsmith actually did a pretty decent job. There's some decent depth rotation there. Obviously, Watt's on the field for 80 to 90% of the plays. Cameron Hayward out there, he is an absolute monster of force, but like, just talk about defense. Obviously, defensive backs. And they had a lot of young guys out there, like Norwood we saw. You'll see later in this game that across to Kelsey goes, like, across his face, messed up. But, like, Witherspoon, who they brought on, actually made some pretty decent plays. Like, I think, wasn't he a defensive player of the week one week with a couple of those picks? Or am I thinking wrong? Maybe he didn't get it. Anyways, but so you need to improve the defensive back. Like, I don't know if Joe Hayden's coming back. When you look at the over the cap, right, for next year, Joe Hayden is not on the list. He is a free agent. Cap number is $15 million. We'll see what it demands going into next year. He'll be like probably, they got $41 million in cap, so he should be a pretty decent signing. We'll see what he wants, because that would be a ton of cap space if he takes up 15 again. Obviously, it was the last year of his contract, which generally is the highest of the numbers in the contract. But like to it, basically was gone for the whole year. And in 2021 was our. Where was he in 2020? Dang, I don't see him in 2021. But 2022, right now, he's number 2 on our cap number. So hopefully he comes back next year. He's been injured a lot in his career, which has been kind of sad overall. The fact that, too, it's been kind of inconsistent after getting that. There's the TJ Watt. There's the first miracle. Well, I don't know if that's a miracle, but that's TJ Watt doing TJ Watt things, man. He gets so many swats. He is incredible with that. Him and his brother, right? The JJ SWAT classic nickname. But overall, the Steelers season, I think, was like, it kind of went a little bit better than I thought it was going to be, based off, their offensive line, how bad we all knew it was going to be, based off Roethlisberger's, ability. He was kind of like lost a little bit of the deep accuracy. A lot of like plays that came down to it, like right there, he kind of missed them. Where you see guys like that at the top of the class, like Aaron Rodgers would put that on a dot, and like Mahomes put stuff on a dot like that. But, it is what it is. He's not Tom Brady. We'll see. He doesn't have the Tom Brady. Didn't do the HGH like he should have to stay healthy late in his career. I only say that half tongue in cheek. We don't know what the Brady diet truly consists of, and how many horse testosterone tranquilizers are in his morning Wheaties. But outside of my jealousy, yeah. Let's see, Steelers, right? They need a quarterback, obviously. Most mock drafts you see, so they're picking 20 overall, will have them taking whoever like falls to them, right? As long as they don't get like, so if we take a look at the mock draft right here, like if they take Willis, now I haven't done a whole lot of research, and I trust Pittsburgh's team of scouts. If they've done an incredible job over the year drafting studs, like literally round 2 through 4, they've been incredible with. They got Willis going here in this CBS Sports one. Obviously, the true want for any Pittsburgh night would be Kenny Pickett there, but they got him projected at number 5 overall. There's no shot the Steelers can be able to trade up to number 5 overall, give up what's required to get that for Kenny Pickett. So if the Giants go ahead and take him and decide Daniel Jones is a thing of the past. I don't know. It is a weak quarterback class this year, but teams always seem to reach for quarterbacks past their talent level. Matt Corral, they got going number 11. I know he's got a knee issue, so there's some thoughts about him dropping in the draft because of the injury in the bowl game. But like getting somebody like even like a number 1 stud receiver would not be against that even, right? With their receiver core. But yeah, really, like in my opinion, if they can't get anybody they like, right? If they decide that Malik Willis has got accuracy issues, they don't like him. He's raw, they say, and he could improve. But like the only one I don't want, and maybe this is a bad take, but I saw Ritter. I watched like a little bit of his film, and this guy was terrible. If they ended up taking Ritter, I'll be very surprised. This guy, please don't take Desmond Ritter, Steelers. That's like, and I'm not a professional grader. I don't know anything. Maybe they take him, he becomes a stud, but that's the only one that'll be very disappointed if they end up drafting. But I think personally, if they go ahead and just take best player available at a position of need, like they need all the positions, right? If they just go ahead and do that, then wait till next year. If they end up having a worse losing season this year, waiting until they're higher up in the draft pick. There's a lot better guys coming out next year. There's like a 1-2. It's Alabama's, and here was the other miracle play. This was the absolute miracle that they needed. This needed to happen a few more times for them to compete in this game, and it really only happened a couple times with Watt. And at this point, I was going crazy. I'm like, I was having like dreams of a good outcomes of the game. Right? This is like the high water mark of the Steelers season right here. This was like Pickett's charge right before getting blasted by Union's cannons. So. Anyways, that's it, right? Like maybe draft an offensive line, maybe like secure the rest of your roster going forward, and then next year look to draft the running back, get like a veteran out there. I don't know how many guys are gonna be available. I was thinking like, that guy at Baltimore, Huntley, might be a potential, but there's no way Baltimore. I guess they got his rights for him a year. He's gonna be able to trade him to an in-division rival. There's plenty of like free agents on the market that are like decent, like backup type players, but those aren't the kind of guys you want like leading your squad. They might actually just like ride out Mason Rudolph and see what they got there. Maybe Dwayne Haskins. See who can win it in training camp, and go with that next year. If they end up not getting any of the quarterbacks they like, fall to them. I know Mike Tomlin's really, really, really hinted hard in the future getting a mobile quarterback. So that hopefully is something that they fulfill his wish. I know he's still kind of a young gun in the game. He's not even hit 50 yet, so he's got plenty of positive years going forward. Like this roster was probably one of the least talented rosters in Pittsburgh's history that I've personally seen in probably the last 20, right? It's probably like the early 90s, even maybe before that, right? Like there were a lot of holes. When you look at the spots, they have like TJ Watt, Minka, Hayward, Najee played well. Freiermuth got a good future. Deontay all of a sudden rediscovered his drop problems. Claypool has not lived up to his potential as a go up and grab it receiver. Obviously, Big Ben's inaccuracy on deep balls has really hurt us there. Juju Smith-Schuster, I really hope they re-sign him. I do like him not only for his personality, but like just his overall play on the field. He's a solid blocker too. Obviously not a world beater. We will need a number 1 to kind of like distract. Like so, Deontay was hopefully going to turn into that number 1, but the drop problems has prevented him from becoming Antonio Brown. But I really do think it all starts up front. Just like outside of we all play Madden and stuff where offensive line don't really matter that much. In real life football, offensive line is incredible. So like if they're at 20 and there's who's that center? Is he going to go above this? Yeah, Linderblum, they got out of Iowa going pick 16 to Philadelphia. He'd be a really good get, right? And then move the I'm blanking on his name right now, but I'm dumb. Move him back to guard, his natural position. So that would not be too bad if they ended up getting him instead, and then you obviously need to take some more linemen down the road. My number 1 goal, if anything, like get Bill Callahan out of Cleveland, make him your offensive line coach, offer him the bag. I don't care if you had to pay more than Belichick. Somehow get him, because he's turned like miracles into incredible, and they probably had talent before that, but he's done such a great job coaching on that Cleveland line. Obviously getting Munchak back would be great, but I don't think he wants to leave Denver. I think he moved out there because of his daughter or something was there, so I don't think he's coming back. But like get a competent O-line coach. I know they fired their O-line coach, or he left for them a few weeks left in the regular season. So hopefully they realize they do need some improvement there in the coaching, because that's like the most important coaching spot out of any position. Like this was the backbreaker play right here. Sorry for a second. This was the absolute. Oh no, sorry. What's the next one? So the next play after this, there was a sack. I don't think they show the sack here. Yeah, they show the sack on Mahomes. That was a nice play. So Highsmith has like flashed some solidness. Highsmith, he hasn't been good against the run in my opinion. He's been kind of streaky on the sacks. Like I feel like he's like average. I feel like Highsmith, TJ Watt got hit and chipped, and then Mahomes, the 30-yard crosser. There's Norwood just kind of like forgetting to do his job, looked in the backfield. So that was a tough play there for the Steelers. That like letting them score with 1 minute left, driving down the field and getting a touchdown there was absolute killer, and basically I feel like sunk the game in the favor of the Chiefs. So what was it? Yeah, offensive line position coach. They need that badly, brutally. Defensive backs I talked about. Safeties, I feel like we're okay. Minka's obviously a phenomenal safety, top 5 in league in my opinion. I know he hasn't made as many splash plays this year, but he's kind of I think he's played a lot better as the year went on. He kind of struggled early on, but later I feel like he repicked up who he was. So that's kind of it, right? Like that's what we need. Offensive line, quarterback, running back, tight end, I think they're set. And man, it's crazy. It sucks to have this many holes in a roster, but it's been like this for a couple years. It's hard to fill holes. It really is. When you have drafted some guys that maybe haven't worked out as well as you wanted to, but like this past draft was actually pretty good, right? Oh, it's Kendrick Green, I think was the center I was thinking of. But right, their first few picks, all were starting for on the offense. This is kind of a cheap play. I don't know if they're gonna show a replay of it. But like I don't know if this is legal, right? Where the offensive receiver throws down the defender over them. They don't really show the replay, I guess. Here, I want to show this again. But basically, watch TJ Watt's getting blocked by this guy, and then he takes the guy on him and throws him to the ground, and then receives the pass. I think the refs were so confused by the thick guy getting it, but I mean it doesn't matter. It was only one touchdown in a sea of them. So regardless, Ben Roethlisberger's career, right? What was it? Najee. The announcers totally jinxed him. They said Najee hasn't fumbled all year. And they're like, yeah, he's gone the longest any running back in history without fumbling an entire season. And then he fumbles in this game. Of course he would. I knew that was going to come back to bite him. But Roethlisberger's career. So Roethlisberger meant quite a lot to the Steelers franchise, right? Drafted in 2004, that legendary quarterback draft where 3 potential Hall of Famers are there. I don't know if Rivers will make it. I think Eli makes it for sure because of, West or East Coast bias, winning the Super Bowl a couple times over New England and whatnot. Roethlisberger, obviously a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. 2 Super Bowl champs, lost another one, got robbed a little bit in the AFC championships by Belichick and the Spygate gang and, McDaniels, who later, like we just saw this like a couple weeks ago, where like McDaniels was totally doing it again in 2010, right? Like, I don't know if you guys saw that interview with, who was that? Brandon Marshall, was it? And he was talking about how they were doing so well, and then they got caught for this filming practice again in 2010, and they like basically went like 2-8 afterwards. But yeah, so like there's always those controversies, right? And it is what it is. So Roethlisberger, he's had his controversies, his sexual assault allegation. That's kind of always like put like a damper on the love of him because of his like just general like poor history. So like, can you separate the man from what he does on the field? Like, can you separate the art from the artist? No, like you really can't. And so like that's kind of like brought a lot of like mixed emotions to this. It's like, okay, great. Like he's been like great on the field for the career, but it's tough rooting for him, right? Like it's like why I don't want to trade for Deshaun Watson because he's got all these like allegations or what from like 21 different women or something. Like we'll see if he gets his day in court or not. But like it's so hard as a fan to root for somebody that's kind of like such a serious like nobody's perfect. Don't get me wrong, nobody's perfect, but like these things are like far from like that you can be, right? Like there's something like nobody's perfect. They got like a speeding ticket. Or they drank under the age of 21 or smoked a cigarette under the age of 21. And then there's the more serious offenses that we've seen. So that's kind of like the mixed part of his legacy, right? On his retirement day, we want to celebrate him, but like, can you celebrate? Look at Chase getting punched in the face. Dude was getting the TJ Watt 6-pack. So overall, like I enjoyed watching them over the years. I enjoyed them transitioning from like an all-time defense to an all-time offense with the killer bees. Now they lost Antonio Brown. Bell dipped out. They were in the center of controversy for so many years. I really hated those like days of our lives with our Steelers. Where the Steelers were always known as like that. Those consummate pros. And once the bees drama came out, they were in the center of that, and they were in the national media because it was just so juicy and everybody loved talking about it. And that was, in my opinion, as a older Steelers fan from the old school. I know I'm 84 years old. It wasn't what I enjoyed about football, and seeing all the headlines on a weekly basis, the new crazy things that Antonio Brown did, and Le'Veon Bell's holding out for a year. I really wish he would have accepted Pittsburgh's offer on a contract that ended up probably would have. I don't know. In the end, would if it been as bad as he was if he took that contract with Pittsburgh and didn't set out the year? I don't know. We'll see. It ended up not working out for him, obviously. I don't know who those kind of onside kicks fool. Right? Like, it seems like every kicker, at least both kickers today during the playoffs, did the same thing where they faked one way, went the other. Like, you're forced by NFL rule to split your roster on each side of the ball. Like, why don't you just, like, perfect one side of it? Right? And, like, not fake and not worry about it. But anyways, I don't know. There's exciting players to be looking. Obviously, TJ Watt, we'll see. He probably won't ever get to this high in the mountain again with, tying the sack record. Really should have had it, right? The NFL really screwed him this past week on not calling his other sack a sack last week against the Ravens. Instead, we still got that bozo Michael Strahan sack record there. Michael Strahan's not a bozo, but a sack record with Favre's stupid slide is still there, tarnishing the record books. But I don't know. On the next season, eternal hope. Right? Hopefully they can pick that guy that comes in and does well. Maybe they trade up. Maybe they do pull a draft day trade. They've done it for Devin Bush, and talk about an all-time disappointment. Devin Bush was an awful pick. Man, I'm very disappointed with the way he plays. He can't get off the block to save his life. So middle linebacker might need to get to replace Spillane, who filled in. He's maybe a little bit below average for Spillane, but that's it. That's the season. Hopefully Roethlisberger gets a tribute card in Mutt. But yeah. Let me know what you guys have to think about how the season went and your overall thoughts on the future for the Steelers franchise. But that is it. He makes it to like the 3 or the 4, and we're down. All right. Peace, bye, and I'll see you on the stream. We'll talk more about it. Until we meet again.